Hey, so I wasn't sure if I wanted to make this video or not because it's about a serial killer and you kind of have to be careful about these topics or you could anger a lot of people. But I really feel like I want to make this video. If you don't know who Elliot Rodger is, he was this guy who murdered 6 people and then shot himself about 2 years ago. A few days ago someone left a comment on one of my videos and he said that he reminds me that I remind him of Elliot Rodger, that I'm very similar to him, I look like him and I sound like him. And I was like, okay, I didn't really pay much attention at first. And then I decided to Google, who is Elliot Rodger? Because I don't remember the name. And then his picture came up and I remembered the picture. I remember when it happened a few years ago. I didn't really pay much attention because it was like, oh, another mass shooting in America. It's sad and tragic, but it's so common that it's not really shocking anymore, and that's even more sad and tragic. So I decided to look up Elliot Rodger on Wikipedia, and the thing that first caught my attention was that he's also half Malaysian and half British, like I am. Mother's Malaysian, father's British, just like me, also similar age. And then I read a bit more on the Wikipedia page and I found out he has a YouTube channel. So I went onto YouTube and I searched his name and there was his channel. And I was like, what? He's a serial killer and his YouTube channel is still on YouTube. So I watched a few of his videos. I was still really surprised that these videos are still available to be viewed. They weren't really against the YouTube terms of contract, terms of service. They weren't against the rules of YouTube, so I guess there's no reason that they can't be still on YouTube. So I watched a few of the videos and he talks a lot about, the things he talks about is, I felt very relatable. They're very similar to things that I've talked about in the past. Things like loneliness and feelings of rejection. After watching a few of his videos, I felt really conflicted. Like I felt like I hated him and was disgusted by what he had done, but at the same time I felt like I could understand all these issues that he was having and I felt kind of sorry for him, like I pitied him. And then I found out he had written this manifesto, which is basically a 140-page story that he had written of his entire life from childhood until present day. And there was an audiobook version on YouTube. It's just like Google Translate automated voice, speech to voice function thing that someone had uploaded to YouTube, and it was about 10 hours. And I stayed up all night last night. I stay up all night anyway, but I listened to 4 hours worth of it. I haven't gotten through to the remaining 6 just because I haven't had the time yet, and I was just amazed at how similar he is to me. His experiences growing up, I felt like I was listening to my own life story being read out by this robotic woman's voice. It was really creepy. In his manifesto, he talked about how in primary school, elementary school, he was happy, he had friends, he enjoyed socializing, and then as he grew up, as he grew older and moved into is it high school or middle school? Secondary school for me. Everything changed. He started to get bullied. He started to hate people, and then he started playing World of Warcraft, just like me. And he used World of Warcraft to escape from the harsh reality of being a kid in high school that's being bullied. And I just felt like I could relate to that so much. That's almost pretty much exactly what happened to me. I went through this phase of really enjoying school and socializing with kids, and then going into secondary school, and then hating everyone because they bullied and teased me, and then escaping into online gaming and not wanting to leave my house or interact with people. I feel like his main problem was mainly around girls and the fact that he wasn't having any sex, and he got really jealous about other people in school who had girlfriends and were having sex, and it was like he was obsessing over the fact that he was only 22 and he was still a virgin. When you think about it, that's crazy. A lot of people are virgins even in their 20s, they even get 30-year-old virgins. Just because you're still a virgin when you're 22 doesn't mean you have to go on a murderous rampage. I didn't even have my first sexual experience until I was 21. But after listening to half of his manifesto, I don't really feel like it's fair to compare my situation and his, because by the sounds of it, it sounded like he had a much harder time during his childhood. His parents got divorced, he had to move around a lot. Also, it sounds like he got bullied a lot worse than I did. It sounded like from a young age of around 13, he started obsessing about girls and sex and getting really jealous and envious of other people who had girlfriends and were popular with girls. I never really felt like this. When I was a 14-year-old kid, I had absolutely no interest in girls. I didn't find any of the girls attractive at school. And another thing I found kind of strange was he was saying that he hated the cool kids because they were obnoxious and loud and intimidating, but at the same time, he wanted to be respected by them and become one of them and become friends with them so he could also become one of the cool kids. I never felt like that. I always felt like I also hated the cool kids at school, but I never felt like I wanted to be their friends. I never felt like I wanted to be like them. I wanted to be like myself, my weird, quiet, nerdy self. I never felt like, oh, I need to be cool so I can be popular and attract girls. And he also said a lot of things about how he hated women because they rejected him. But I never really got the feeling that he approached women and tried to talk to them or ask them out if they wanted to go out on a date with him. It was like he just expected women to be attracted to him and approach him. And then when they didn't, he ended up feeling rejected and then started hating them. I've been rejected a lot by girls, but I never felt like I hated them because they rejected me. I just felt like, oh, that was a bit disappointing, but there's nothing I can do about it. Just move on. And it also sounded like he was very frustrated about being rejected by society. It was like he was trying very hard to fit in and be accepted by wearing designer clothes and driving a fancy car. But I feel like I'm the opposite. I'm the one rejecting society. I don't feel like I'm being rejected by society. I feel like I don't care about having a fancy car or wearing nice clothes. Look, I'm wearing a potato carrot shirt. I don't really care about things like fitting in. I'm the opposite. I want to stand out. I want to be unique. I like being weird. I don't like being like everyone else. I don't like being a sheep. I don't like following what's trending or what everyone else is doing. I don't care about things like driving a fancy car or wearing designer clothes. It's been a real eye-opener listening to his story and finding out how similar his experiences as a child and growing up was to mine. And I've been doing a lot of self-reflecting. I feel like he's some kind of parallel version of me, where if you let your feelings of isolation and rejection and loneliness take control of you, then it can turn you into this monster that's capable of killing so many people. I guess a major turning point in my life was when I went to Japan for the first time, and for the first time ever I felt like I fitted in and people accepted me for who I was and didn't bully me or tease me because of my appearance. And I met an amazing person over there who gave me love and affection and those things that Elliot was so desperate for. Maybe if he also had a person like that in his life, then he wouldn't have done the things that he did. Who knows? Maybe even if he did get a girlfriend, maybe he still would have committed murder. Humans are social animals. We're not lizards or snakes. We're not designed to live the majority of our lives alone. So I can understand how feeling isolated and rejected and lonely for all of your life can make a person go crazy. I just felt like it was such a tragic story. I just really wanted to make a video about it because it's been on my mind a lot. I hope I haven't offended anyone. I'm not saying he should be forgiven for what he did. I'm just saying that there were a series of events and things that happened to him during his childhood that turned him into this person who was capable of killing so many people. And I find those things very relatable. I just feel really glad that I think I'm past the stage of a man's life where he starts obsessing about sex and he has these really strong sexual desires and urges. And I can understand how frustrating it can be to have those urges and not have them satisfied. But yeah, you're right, it's not an excuse to go out and kill innocent people. Sorry if this video was a bit grim and depressing. I'll try and think of a more light-hearted video for the next one. Bye.